live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Melinda Akilami.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, Independent National Electoral Commission publishes credentials and personal details of candidates contesting the forthcoming presidential and National Assembly elections. Former President Goodluck Jonathan's name absent from the list. Vice President Kashim Shettima says Nigeria's peace, unity and prosperity can only be sustained when leaders and citizens choose reconciliation over division. Women leaders from across West Africa gather in the nation's capital, call for greater inclusion of women in elective offices and increased participation in political leadership. And the World Health Organization says Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo is the largest in the country's history. On sports news tonight, Nigeria's Super Falcons seek their first win at the Women's Africa Cup of Nations in a high-stake Group C game against Zambia. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has published credentials and personal details of presidential and National Assembly candidates for the forthcoming general election. Now, some of the names and credentials published by the electoral body include President Bola Tinubu and his running mate, Vice President Kashim Shettima, the presidential candidate of the Nigeria Democratic Congress, Mr. Peter Obi, the presidential candidate of the African Democratic Congress, Mr. Atiku Abubakar, amongst others. For the People's Democratic Party, INEC published the credentials of former federal lawmaker, Professor Sandy Ono, as the presidential candidate.
The publication of political parties' candidates' credentials is a key requirement of the Nigerian electoral law, and the electoral umpire in Abuja says it is complying with this law by publishing the credentials of candidates in the forthcoming general election.
This exercise today is in pursuant of the requirement of the law, in pursuant of Section 29, subsection 3 of the 2026 Electoral Act, that mandates INEC to, within 21 days of receipt of the personal particulars of candidates contesting for an election, to cause such particulars to be published, at the constituencies where the candidates are contesting the election. So basically, it's the requirement of the law, and that's what the Commission is doing today.
This notice board at the entrance of INEC premises in the Federal Capital Territory contains names and credentials of presidential and National Assembly candidates of various political parties, including the APC, PDP, ADC, and the NDC. The electoral umpire also explains the omission of the names and credentials of some candidates of political parties that are in dispute, such as former President Goodluck Jonathan.
There are particular parties, the factions of parties that INEC recognizes, and you can find them on our website. So INEC has the particular the particular parties, the executives of parties that are in contention, So there's a particular one recognized by INEC, and that's what we have displayed on the screen.
The Tanimu Turaki group had on Friday told journalists that INEC has in its custody the particulars of former President Goodluck Jonathan as their presidential candidates. The group also vowed that their candidates will be on the ballot for the forthcoming general election despite the leadership crisis of the party.
Ahead of the general elections, the presidential candidate of the African Democratic Congress, Mr. Atiku Abubakar, is asking his supporters to translate social media campaigns to vote to ensure the ADC is elected into office at the center. He made this known at a meeting with state coordinators of the Rise Up Naija movement, which is a coalition of support groups for his presidential ambition.
In a bid to deceive the country,
it's a meeting of state coordinators of Atiku support groups under the auspices of the Rise Up Naija movement, a political movement for former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. In attendance are chieftains of the ADC as well as the party's 2027 presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar. The objective is to review strategies for the mobilization of voters ahead of the general election.
As state coordinators and as leaders in our respective communities, we must become ambassadors of this mission. We must build trust, strengthen structures, engage our communities, recruit credible Nigerians into this movement, into the ADC by extension, and demonstrate through our conduct the values that we preach.
When you have the right person in charge, helpers will come from everywhere. Do we have them in Nigeria? In Nigeria and in diaspora, we have so many. They're concerned about the health of Nigeria, everything that's going on, about the youth. And we are going to mobilize them to come here and work because a good man is in office.
The movement, which is largely driven by young people, says it's leveraging online and offline platforms to mobilize votes for the ADC presidential candidate. Beyond the strategies outlined by the movement, the ADC presidential candidate has a charge for his supporters.
You influence conversations, you shape opinions, you hold governments accountable. You have shown the world that Nigerian youth can organize, innovate, and inspire. But while social media can awaken a nation, it cannot by itself elect a government. Hashtags do not count votes. Live streams do not secure polling units. Tweets do not defend democracy. Only citizens do. Our challenge in 2027 is therefore clear. We must transform online influence into offline participation.
The former vice president is hoping to defeat the incumbent, President Bola Tinubu, in the 2027 general election if coordinators and members of this movement can mobilize voters across the states, come out to vote on election day and defend their votes.
Nigeria's peace, unity and prosperity can only be sustained when leaders and citizens choose reconciliation over division. Vice President Kashim Shettima stated this in Jos, the Plateau State capital, at the 80th birthday celebration of the former Governor Jonah Jang. Our correspondent Pierre Sidabang reports.
Nigeria's Vice President Kashim Shettima led the list of dignitaries that includes former President Goodluck Jonathan, APC National Chairman, Plateau State Governor, traditional rulers and religious leaders who are joining family members, friends and political associates to honor the elder statesman, retired Air Commodore Jonah Jang.
This is not merely an autobiography.
The ceremony opened with the review of the former federal lawmaker's autobiography, From Airman to Politics, My Life, by Channels Television's Seun Okimbaloye, who described the book as a valuable account of leadership, service, and Nigeria's political evolution that offers important lessons for future generations.
There is a line running quietly beneath almost every chapter in this book. The author seems to say, "God, I'm not asking you to agree with me. I'm asking you to hear me." There is wisdom in that, because history should never be afraid of more voices. History becomes richer, not poorer, when more witnesses speak.
Responding, retired Air Commodore Jang said the autobiography was written to preserve an accurate account of his life, clear misconceptions about his public service, and leave a legacy of faith, integrity, and selfless service for younger generations.
This book is not written to settle scores or attack anyone. Rather, it is an honest effort to place events in their proper context, explain the circumstances under which certain decisions were taken.
Governor Caleb Mutfwang of Plateau State described the celebrant as a mentor, an exemplary leader, and an elder statesman whose contributions to the development of the state continue to inspire a new generation of leaders.
Yes, you've been through many controversies. You have been misunderstood. People have said different things about you. But one thing I want to assure you, that the people of Plateau love you.
Former President Goodluck Jonathan says Jang's autobiography is a significant contribution to Nigeria's history, adding that his years of service offer enduring lessons in leadership, discipline, and national unity.
It's a special occasion. It celebrates a remarkable life of faith, service, leadership, and sacrifice. It also gives us the opportunity to reflect on the values that have shaped Senator Jang's journey.
Delivering the keynote address, Vice President Kashim Shettima described the celebrant as a statesman whose life reflects selfless service.
Be assured of our commitment to a Nigeria where security supports opportunity and where every citizen feels at home in every part of the federation. We'll continue to play our part, but lasting peace also depends upon ordinary men and women who reject rumors, resist hatred, and choose reconciliation over retaliation.
The celebration culminates in the cutting of the 80th birthday cake and the unveiling of the book. Percy Dabang, Channels Television News.
The FCT Minister, Mr. Nyesom Wike, has been explaining his fallout with the River State Governor, Siminalayi Fubara. He says it comes from bad advice given to the governor. Speaking during a media chat in Port Harcourt, the River State capital, Mr. Wike explained that the crisis began when Governor Fubara attempted to prematurely dismantle the political structure that brought him into power.
There are those who will mean well for you. There are those who do not mean well for you. Now, you just go to the office. Somebody now comes. Yes, he has tried to support you. But must must you be his name? Why not try now to put yourself and let people know that it is you. Yes, you came through him, but it is now you. All kinds of manner of things. Some people go through your wife. Some people go through your in-laws. Some people go through your father, all kinds of things. So it can't be behoves on you to sit down very well to listen. This kind of advice now, where will it lead me to? You have to think well. If you make the mistake which he made by saying that yes, I can do it alone, those who get me support, I don't care, I don't need them. Those who didn't want you will come in. There's no way anybody who didn't want you to be in a position will want you to succeed. No.
Mr. Wike also took a swipe at former Governor Rotimi Amechi, questioning his suitability to run as a vice presidential candidate.
You didn't want a South-South person to be completely staying as president. So what we will take is vice president. Listen, a South-South person was a president. You came out of national television, you kicked him out. Not to the second tenure. Fine. The South had lost that position. Now they have given you a vice president to replace the president that was lost. In which party is that? It will be difficult to sell it. Now you were a minister. Can you tell Rivers people what you did to improve? To say, yes, I'm in government. I'm influential in this government. What did we achieve under the administration that you sat? That will not make them say yes. While he was there, the state was able to get this, to get this, to get that. We believe, being the vice president, we should be able to get more.
In part two, after the break, Kaduna State government takes another bold step in its quest to improve security across rural communities, graduating 1,000 forest guards. That's in a moment. Join us again. Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. The Independent National Electoral Commission publishes credentials and personal details of candidates contesting the presidential and National Assembly elections. Former President Goodluck Jonathan's name absent from list. Vice President Kashim Shettima says Nigeria's peace, unity and prosperity can only be sustained when leaders and citizens choose reconciliation over division. Women leaders from across West Africa gather in Abuja call for greater inclusion of women in elective offices and increased participation in political leadership. And the World Health Organization says Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo is the largest in the country's history. Women leaders from West Africa are demanding greater inclusion in elective offices through firm commitments free from the high cost of politics, on equal access to political parties, and political intimidation. Speaking at the conference in Abuja, the Minister of Women Affairs and Social Development, Iman Sulaiman Ibrahim, stated that the federal government already has reserved seats bill aimed at increasing women's representation in elective offices. Our correspondent, Emanuela Ekele, has this report.
Women leaders from across West Africa converge on Abuja, the nation's capital, for a Women Political Leadership Forum with the theme Accelerating Women's Political Participation and Leadership in West Africa. The forum is about turning commitment to action, and these commitments can be translated into laws, policies, financing, and institutional reforms. The forum also addressed the barriers that continue to hold women back, including the high cost of politics, violence, intimidation, among others.
Your Excellencies,
The Nigerian Minister of Women Affairs and Social Development says government's response includes the reserved seat bill aimed at increasing women's representation in elective offices.
When I walked in, I heard the young girl in the room asking when the special reserve seat bill would pass. And one thing I heard her say was that it was a law that was not implementable. That particular proposed bill is undergoing a total overhaul with suggestions around electoral college, which is still in debate.
Despite the ECOWAS presidential declaration on advancing women's political leadership, stakeholders say member states must back their commitments with legal and institutional reforms that will translate into measurable progress.
It's important that we also set up a system where we are able to measure the successes in member states and establish a peer learning system where we can enable member states to learn from one another and see what the best practices are, so we're not reinventing the wheel at all times, and learn what's being done according to the national context of every country.
They also urge political parties and election management bodies to reduce the financial burden on female aspirants through subsidized nomination fees to encourage more women to seek elective office.
I always say we are ambitious, we have the capacity to lead, but sustainable financing remains a critical gap for us. And we will only be able to advance if we are in power.
That watch that is needed. Finance have to be there because the law is there, the program is there, is now, and I'm hearing our ministers here sitting that are trying at each level to implement because they know that is necessary.
As a minister, when I came on board, I decided to set up what we call the network of women ministers and parliamentarians, trying to bring ministers together and parliamentarians devoid of their political party affiliation.
The take-home for these women leaders is that member states must demonstrate their commitment to women political inclusion by implementing women-friendly laws designed to increase their participation in government. Emanuela Ekele, Channels Television News.
To security matters now. Kaduna State has taken another significant step in its drive to improve security across rural communities. The state government has graduated 1,000 specially trained forest guards to strengthen surveillance in forest areas and support security agencies. Speaking at the passing out parade in Kaduna State, Governor Uba Sani said the initiative is designed to restore peace, safeguard lives and properties, especially in rural areas.
After 8 weeks of intensive military style and academic training, these 1,000 forest guards have successfully completed their program and are ready for deployment across vulnerable communities in Kaduna State. The training conducted by the Kaduna State government in collaboration with the Office of the National Security Advisor is aimed at complementing existing security agencies in tackling rural banditry, kidnapping and other security threats. The recruits underwent rigorous instructions in combat operations, intelligence gathering, weapon handling, surveillance and field operations. As the reviewing officer, the governor inspects the parade mounted by the newly trained forest guards.
Today, farmers go to their farms freely.
In keeping with military tradition, the graduates perform an impressive march past in slow and quick time. The forest guards were recruited mainly from communities affected by insecurity, giving them valuable knowledge of the local terrain. Having demonstrated competence, discipline and professionalism throughout the training, they have been certified fit for deployment by their instructors and commended by the representative of the National Security Advisor as the best so far. They are, however, reminded to remain professional, respect international human rights, and maintain cultural sensitivity while carrying out their duties.
Offensive and defensive operations, communication procedures, combat first aid, camouflage and concealment, command and control, cordon and search operations, situational awareness, and drill parades.
The Office of the National Security Advisor, in conjunction with the Ministry of Environment, have concluded arrangements for the commencement payment of your salaries and other emoluments. There won't be any gap. I repeat, there won't be any gap from the time of your graduation to the time of your deployment. It is going to be immediate. Now we have a contact in front, just in case.
The high point of the event is the symbolic presentation of appointment letters to the Rangers and award of excellence to the best performing trainees.
The next to receive the appointment letter is Monica Ali. Please let us give her a round of applause. Let us give her a round of applause. Monica Ali receiving her appointment letter.
Addressing the graduates, Governor Uba Sani says the establishment of the Forest Guards reflects his administration's commitment to protecting rural and urban communities, as well as creating a safer environment for all citizens.
Today, we celebrate the emergence of a specialized security capability that will complement the invaluable work of our armed forces and other security agencies. In an era where security challenges continue to evolve in complexity and sophistication, our response must be equally adaptive, coordinated, and forward-looking.
The governor also expresses confidence that the deployment of the Forest Guards will encourage displaced farmers to return to their farms, boost agricultural production, and stimulate economic activities across affected communities.
More than 125 schools that were previously shut down have been reopened. Vast expanses of farmland have been reclaimed and are once again under cultivation. Healthcare facilities have resumed operation in virtually all the communities and local governments of Kaduna State.
As the first batch of 1,000 forest guards prepare for deployment, the Kaduna State government says it remains committed to working with security agencies to ensure that residents can live, farm, and conduct legitimate businesses in an atmosphere of peace and security.
In Edo State, the police command is reaffirming its commitment to professionalism and accountability with the dedicating of 5 dismissed police officers allegedly involved in an extortion syndicate that operated in Benin City. The command says the officers, alongside other suspects, will be prosecuted after an investigation exposed their alleged involvement in harassment, abduction, and extortion.
Senior police officers, men of the command, and guests filling the conference hall sets the stage for an event the Edo State Police Command describes as a demonstration of its commitment to discipline, professionalism, and accountability. Moments later, the dismissed officers are led into the hall under tight security as the dedicating ceremony begins. One after the other, their police accoutrements are removed, formally bringing their career in the Nigeria Police Force to an end. The ceremony is followed by a press briefing, where the police public relations officer, ASP Okedem, says the dismissals are the result of an extensive investigation into a criminal syndicate involving serving and dismissed police personnel, commercial bus drivers, and civilian accomplices.
The complaints indicated that members of this syndicate had been operating around the Temboga axis of Aduwawa, Benin City, where unsuspecting citizens were being intercepted, forced into commercial buses under the guise of police operations, driven around various parts of the city, and subsequently compelled to withdraw money through point-of-sales operators before regaining their freedom.
The police say more than 11 victims have identified members of the syndicate, while investigations also reveals the involvement of 7 police officers, dismissed personnel, and their civilian collaborators. As part of the disciplinary measures, 1 inspector is reduced in rank, 5 officers are dismissed from the force and are to be prosecuted, while another officer, declared a deserter, remains at large.
Force number 516228. Corporal Modi Philip, attached to Okwaya Division. Force number 516456. Corporal Destiny Emmanuel, attached to Department of Operations. Force number 516291. Corporal Uwase Emmanuel, attached to Police Mobile Force Squadron 60. Force number 515970. Corporal Okon Elvis, attached to Police Mobile Force Squadron 60. Force number 515965. Corporal Samuel David Obeten, attached to Police Mobile Force Squadron 82.
The command says the action reflects the determination of the Inspector General of Police to strengthen internal discipline and ensure that any officer found engaging in extortion, corruption, or other criminal activities is made to face the law. The police also warned point-of-sale operators and other members of the public against collaborating with criminal elements, stressing that anyone found aiding such activities will be persecuted.
In a bold move to strengthen security, protect residents, and boost investor confidence, the Ogun State Executive Council has approved 4 landmark bills designed to tackle violent crimes, ritual killings, cultism, extortion, and abduction. The approval, granted at the council meeting in Abeokuta, state capital, underscores the determination of the current administration to deploy robust legislative measures to address emerging security threats. Now let's look at the proposed legislation. There's a group liability for offenses of violence, extortion, and secret society, GLOVES Bill, the Victims' Rights Bill, the Human Sacrifice Prevention and Prohibition Bill, and the Missing Persons Bill. They will be transmitted to the Ogun State House of Assembly for consideration in the coming days. Staying with security, troops of Operation Hadinkai have foiled a terrorist abduction attempt and rescued 31 civilians during a successful military operation in Biu local government area of Borno State. In a statement, Captain Mohammed Goni, the acting military information officer, headquarters of the Joint Task Force Northeast Operation Hadinkai, said the incident occurred on Friday when troops of 135 Special Forces Battalion detected Boko Haram ISWAP terrorists through real-time surveillance systems. He adds that acting swiftly on the intelligence, the battalion deployed a quick response force in pursuit of the terrorists who fled towards the Mangari Dora general area. Following the successful rescue, troops dominated the general area and conducted further exploitation to deny the terrorists any opportunity to regroup. The statement adds that the Joint Task Force remains resolute in sustaining aggressive operations to eliminate the remnants of terrorists while ensuring the safety and security of communities and major lines of communication across the Northeast Theater. Still ahead on the news at 10, CPPE urges development finance reforms, warning that a 50 trillion naira funding gap is slowing investment, industrialization and job creation. That's in a moment. Join us again. Welcome back. The Borno State government is continuing its urban renewal drive with the construction of 120 new schools, the renovation of others destroyed during the Boko Haram insurgency as well. In this special report, we take a look at the interventions of the state government in healthcare, education, and humanitarian affairs, specifically covering the daily needs of internally displaced persons.
Years of insurgency left Borno State with damaged infrastructure, displaced communities, and a strange education and healthcare system. 7 years into the administration of Governor Babagana Zulum, the state government says its focus remains on rebuilding critical sectors and restoring access to essential services. 120 new schools, including mega schools, have been constructed across the 27 local government areas, while several others destroyed during the insurgency have been rehabilitated. This intervention has helped reduce the number of out-of-school children from about 2 million in 2019 to 800,000.
Aside from building schools, in the last 7 years, His Excellency has constructed 120 new schools, including 109 mega schools, in addition to hospitals, primary healthcare centers, general hospitals across the state. And he has this vision that you cannot continue to build structures without commensurate human capital development. And that is why, for instance, in the education sector, His Excellency has scaled up the number of children that will be accommodated into schools.
The state government says it is also strengthening healthcare delivery through the construction of primary healthcare centers, general hospitals, and an orthopedic hospital. In addition to this, 2 colleges of nursing and midwifery have been established in Gwaza and Mongono, bringing the total to 3. The state is also sponsoring medical students to study within and outside Nigeria.
The total number of output of every year is 300 basic nurses. But when His Excellency came into power, he felt that this is gradually inadequate. And that is why he established 2 additional colleges of nursing, one in Mongono and one in Goza. So now we have 3 colleges of nursing, and the turnout, the number of graduates every year with regards to general nursing is about 788. So the number has increased to virtually 150%.
Beyond education and healthcare, the government says humanitarian interventions have remained central to its post-insurgency recovery plan, with thousands of displaced persons returned to their communities in a dignified and coordinated process.
We've seen since he came into power that the intervention from international communities are dwindling. The resources is no longer coming as it should be. So he has this foresight and focus that if you continue to keep these people in IDP camp, there will be a time when this funding will no longer be coming. So how will we do with these IDPs that are in internally displaced persons camps? So he thought it wise that there's a need to move them to their communities or other places so that they can engage in their meaningful activities and earn their means of livelihood.
With relative peace returning to many parts of the state, attention shifts to completing the recovery process by closing all IDP camps in Gwaza and the Maiduguri metropolitan area before the end of the administration's tenure in 2027.
The Delta State Governor, Sharif Obiriwori, has approved a comprehensive support package for Deltans evacuated from South Africa following xenophobic attacks. The package features a 2 million naira grant per family, monthly welfare allowances, and other measures aimed at supporting their reintegration into society.
Several Nigerians, including indigents of Delta State, were recently forced to flee South Africa after renewed xenophobic attacks claimed lives, destroyed businesses and properties, and left many victims displaced and traumatized. Following the federal government's evacuation efforts, they return home in search of a fresh start. To ease their hardship and support their reintegration, the Delta State government receives the returnees at the Government House in Asaba, where Governor Sharif Obiriwori, represented by his Chief of Staff, Johnson Nerijo, unveils a welfare package comprising a 2 million naira grant for each affected family and a monthly stipend of 200,000 naira for every individual returnee.
We therefore receive you today with...
Commissioner in charge of the Bureau for Special Duties welcomes the returnees and assures them of the state government's commitment to their welfare and successful reintegration.
When you get to your various communities, do well to make inquiries about the different opportunities that you can quickly tap into, restart your lives, and you will be glad you did. Delta State, under administration of Governor Sharif Obiriwori, is full of opportunity.
The state government assures the returnees that the unfortunate experience will not define their future.
To every Deltan who suffered loss or injury, we sympathize with you and identify with your loss. In response to your plight, government has decided to mitigate your loss by providing immediate welfare support of free medical screening in all state-owned facilities and a grant of 2 million naira per family to help you settle.
The symbolic presentation of checks underscores the government's financial commitment to helping the affected families rebuild their lives after losing homes, businesses, and livelihoods during the attacks. Deltans have also been urged to receive the returnees with compassion and solidarity, while the beneficiaries express appreciation to the state government for the timely intervention.
So we are over happy. I think with all the support from the federal government and different state government is be doing, this one of Delta State, as it stands now, is top notch.
I thank the governor of Delta State, my state, So I'm overwhelmed and I pray God will continue to bless him and he should continue his good work.
Beyond the financial assistance, the initiative is designed to restore hope, provide emotional support, and give the returnees a fresh opportunity to rebuild their lives with dignity.
To health issues now, Akwa Ibom State is flagging off activities to mark the 2026 World Breastfeeding Week, with a road walk in Uyo as government and development partners intensify advocacy for exclusive breastfeeding and improved maternal and child health care across the state. The campaign also marks the commencement of the 2026 IBOM Open Maternity Project, which will provide free medical services for thousands of women and children in several local government areas.
Akwa Ibom State has joined the global observance of World Breastfeeding Week with a road walk in Uyo to launch the 2026 IBOM Open Maternity Program. Organized by the Care Life Foundation, alongside the state government and development partners, the campaign brought together healthcare professionals, officials, and advocates to promote exclusive breastfeeding for 6 months and continued breastfeeding up to 2 years to improve maternal and child health.
Make sure you breastfeed somebody this week.
Representing the First Lady's office, the Commissioner for Women Affairs, Honorable Inebehi Etukudo, urged local stakeholders and healthcare workers to drive grassroots awareness, emphasizing that the initiative brings quality care closer to communities.
This program today is just a flag off. It is just a flag off. And that this program will commence fully on Monday, 3rd of August 2026. And that we are taking this project to Okanafo Orwanam on the first day. That is because we want to get to the nooks and crannies of Akwa Ibom State. His Excellency Pastor Wabasieno is so passionate about the grassroots, and that is what the IBOM Open Maternity Project is out for.
Meanwhile, other stakeholders reaffirmed the strict 6-month exclusive breastfeeding rule and called on mothers to embrace the practice to safeguard children's growth and immunity.
We are telling mothers that breastfeeding your child for 6 months and then for 2 years, that's exclusive breastfeeding for 6 months and then 2 years will make a difference. Your child will be healthy. You will not take that child to hospital. Even you as a mother, you will look good. I'm a beneficiary. I breastfed my children. I had twins for 2 years, and they're looking very healthy.
The 2-week IBOM Open Maternity Project will roll out free medical outreaches across participating local government areas, offering antenatal care, nutrition counseling, and HIV screening before concluding with a grand finale in Uyo.
So other stories now. The Nigerian Christian Pilgrim Commission has lifted its ban on pilgrimages to Israel. This was disclosed in a statement signed by Celestine Toruka, the Director of Media and Public Relations for the Commission. According to the statement, Nigerian pilgrims will travel directly through Ben Gurion International Airport in Tel Aviv, as travel via Jordan is currently considered unsafe. The Commission imposed the ban in February following the outbreak of conflict involving Israel, Iran, and the United States. A major milestone for international education in Nigeria has been Young University Pathway Worldwide, a US-based online institution, officially secures its operating license from the National Universities Commission, NUC. The announcement made in Lagos creates new opportunities for Nigerian students pursuing affordable global education.
The Africa West Area Presidency of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints hosts the event in Ikeja, drawing students, stakeholders, and the media. The NUC recognition marks a leap forward in BYU Pathway's mission to provide accessible, faith-centered learning.
And the privilege it is for me to be here.
Setting the tone, Sister Tanise Chonghoon urges students to seize the opportunity and prepare for the global workforce.
You are growing deep roots. You are having opportunities, and the work that I am given the stewardship for is to help with resources, to have employment opportunities as you are prepared to take advantage of, that they would not necessarily just have to be here in your home country, but that your influence can be felt throughout the world.
The climax comes as BYU Pathway Worldwide President Brian Ashton presents the NUC license to a roaring crowd. Celebrating the milestone, Ashton emphasizes that the institution's mission goes beyond academics.
But brothers and sisters, the point is not wealth. The point is to become disciples of Jesus Christ, to have his spirit in our lives always. Happiness will not come by how much money we make. Happiness comes because we have the Holy Ghost in our lives.
Elder Christian Chibundu assures attendees this faith-based model guarantees a return to high educational standards.
This is a great institution that teaches us a lot concerning life and how we can grow to become better. So I'm comparing BYU Pathway to what we used to have those days. That's what I'm saying. Today, we have what we call a restored and refined institution.
Regional leadership focuses on breaking down financial barriers. Area Manager Victor Ukorabi highlights the program's unique value, a high, affordable U.S. equivalent degree.
We've talked about BYU Pathway and the blessing that it is to most Nigerians. It's very affordable. With 420,000 naira, you can earn a degree. And this degree is comparable to what you can earn if you travel to the United States of America. With the kind of quality of education we offer, you can't find it anywhere else.
Offering academic flexibility and spiritual strength, BYU Pathway provides marketable 3-year degrees and certificates. Prospective students can explore the 2026 to 2028 catalog online to start their global journey.
The Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority is conducting a digital stock-taking of petroleum products in filling stations across the country, starting with the Federal Capital Territory. According to the Executive Director for Distribution Systems, Storage and Retailing Infrastructure, the authority developed an online platform to track real-time daily fuel consumption by Nigerians to curb hoarding.
You will recall that prior to Mr. President deregulating fully the downstream, the year-to-year volume that was trucked up from every depot was peaking at 66 million liters a day for PMS. With the full deregulation of the downstream on 29th May 2023, we saw a dip to 50 million liters a day. Does that data represent the consumption? What we are doing now is to move from truck-out volumes to understand the consumption, real consumption patterns from the retail outlets. And we have decided to pilot from the 6 local government areas in FCT. We will do that for this month of August. We will review performance. We will look at the lessons learned. We will upgrade the platform that we're using to gather the data. We will analyze it, and then we will then decide how to scale it up across the whole country. And so today we visited so far 3 stations to see that they are entering the data as appropriate. This data is important. It helps planning. National Bureau of Statistics will also use this. National Planning Commission will use this. Government and investors, even the operators, will know what products are going to where and how the products are being consumed.
The Center for the Promotion of Private Enterprise, CPPE, is calling for a comprehensive overhaul of the country's development finance framework, warning that the real sector financing gap has exceeded 50 trillion naira, which is posing a threat to industrialization, investment, and job creation. In a policy brief, the CPPE says the financing deficit affects key sectors, including manufacturing, agriculture, agribusiness, micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, supply chains, and export-oriented businesses. The organization argues that commercial banks alone cannot finance the industrialization drive because they rely solely or largely on short-term deposits, while manufacturers and agribusinesses require long-term funding. The Central Bank of Nigeria mops up 7.18 trillion naira from the financial system through open market operations as OMO auctions in July, while adopting a less frequent but more targeted liquidity management strategy. Data from the Apex Bank shows that 3 OMO auctions were conducted during the month, down from 7 in June, with the total amount absorbed declining by nearly half, from 13.96 trillion naira recorded in the previous month. Now, despite the fewer auctions, investor demand remains strong, with the July 28 OMO sale attracting the largest single-day allotment of 3.5 trillion naira, driven by robust subscriptions to high-yield government securities. Now, Asisat Oshola's right-minute goal separates Nigeria and Zambia, and the Super Falcons seek their first win in this year's Women's Africa Cup of Nations. Now, in the dying moments of the first half, the Super Falcons were reduced to 10 after Tosin Demehi was red-carded. With few minutes left in the game, the Super Falcons will be hoping to hold on for a win. Samuel Ogazi has delivered a sensational performance to claim the men's 400 meters gold medal for Nigeria at the 2026 Commonwealth Games, producing a championship-winning run of 44.25 seconds. Team Nigeria also won the silver medal in the men's 4x100 relay at the 2026 Commonwealth Games, clocking a season's best time of 38.12 seconds. Ruth Usora won silver in the women's long jump, with Nigeria's 400 meters mixed relay team won bronze. Another Nigerian, Ella Onojevo, clocked 51 seconds to win bronze in the women's 400 meters. Team Nigeria's medal haul in Glasgow has risen to 22, 10 gold, 7 silver and 5 bronze. Nigeria has been confirmed as the host nation for the 2026 CAF Awards, with Lagos selected to stage the African football's annual awards ceremony, celebrating the continent's outstanding players, coaches, and teams. The Confederation of African Football announced that the event will take place in the commercial city, marking the first time Nigeria has hosted the awards since 2015. The ceremony is scheduled to be held at the Wole Soyinka Center for Culture and Creative Arts, that's formerly the National Theatre, in Igomu, which is one of the country's leading cultural venues. Nigeria is also due to host the 48th CAF Ordinary General Assembly in October. The German FA has called for a full investigation into the development of FIFA's World Cup private investment plan, while demanding a fundamental cultural change at the governing body. FIFA scrapped a controversial plan pushed by President Gianni Infantino, which would have allowed private investment in the World Cup after resistance from UEFA and other continental confederations. The DFB, who joined UEFA in opposing the proposal and calling for a boycott of FIFA competitions, including the World Cup. FIFA's plan, which was flagged just weeks after the governing body announced record-breaking revenue from the 2026 World Cup, drew significant criticism. On the foreign scene, the World Health Organization says the current Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo has become the largest in the country's history, surpassing the deadly outbreak recorded between 2018 and 2020. The health agency says more than 3,600 confirmed cases and over 1,500 deaths have been recorded since the outbreak was declared in May. The WHO warns that transmission remains active and is continuing to intensify, while there is currently no approved vaccine or treatment for the current strain. Spain has condemned the response of some European Union countries to the recent surge of migrants into the Spanish enclave of Ceuta, describing their reaction as selfish, polarizing, and unlawful. The dispute follows the arrival of about 60,000 migrants from Morocco, an incident that has triggered political tensions across the EU. While Spain says most of those who crossed have returned, several member states have called for emergency discussions on border security and migration management. And the main news again. The Independent National Electoral Commission has published the credentials and personal details of candidates contesting the forthcoming presidential and National Assembly elections, with former President Goodluck Jonathan's name absent from the list. Vice President Kashim Shettima has said Nigeria's peace, unity, and prosperity can only be sustained when leaders and citizens choose reconciliation over division. And that's the news at 10 tonight. I'm Melinda Kinlami on behalf of the team. Good night.